It's Friday, November 29th, 2013. I'm Nikki Gordon-Bloomfield. I have a really bad turkey bloat, and this is episode number 10 of T.E.N, Transport Evolved News, for the week beginning November 25th, 2013. For most kids, learning to drive is a long and arduous rite of passage, but if you're Nissan's precocious all-electric Leaf, learning to drive is a doddle. Following on from its outing with the Japanese Prime Minister 2 weeks ago, Nissan's autonomous Leaf prototype took to the highways this week with its first public high-speed test on the Sagami Expressway, southwest of Yokohama. On board for the ride was Nissan's Vice Chairman Toshiyuki Tsuchiga, along with the Governor of the Kanagawa Prefecture. Both men were impressed with the technology, although admitted that it still had some ways to go before everyone was able to let their car take the strain on the morning commute. At speeds of between 40 and 80 kilometers per hour, that's between 25 to 50 miles per hour, the autonomous Leaf was able to merge safely into traffic, overtake slower moving vehicles and pull off the highway by itself. A few weeks ago, it also highlighted its ability to handle crosswalks and stoplights, so expect it to be sitting its driving test sometime very soon. There is just one thing we can't work out though. Why is it that Nissan can develop a car that can deal with the massive information needed to drive itself from point A to point B without an accident, but it still can't figure out how to predict the remaining range in a car's battery pack? Driving, it seems, is easier than range prediction. Tesla CEO Elon Musk has been busy again this week, fiercely defending the Tesla brand after news of the NHTSA's official safety investigation made its way into the mainstream media. The investigation, prompted after 2 Model S sedans hit debris on different freeways in different parts of the US and then caught fire, has prompted some pretty sensationalist reporting both in the US and around the world. But Musk, talking with the Associated Press this week, said that the incidents in which large pieces of metal had punctured the underside of the Model S, where its large battery pack is kept, could happen to literally any car. In addition, he added, Tesla doesn't feel its Model S sedan needs any design revision in the light of the accident, and isn't actively working on a fix for the Model S as there's not an issue with it. Musk has a point, as his Twitter retweet of an accident last year shows literally any car's underside can be impaled by a metal spike. Ouch. But Musk couldn't resist having a pop at Honda earlier this week after it was forced to recall its Fit hatchback, some 700,000 cars, for an electrical fault which could result in the car catching fire. Ford also had to recall its 2013 Escapes for the 4th and 5th time this week, and one of those was a fuel leak for, guess what, fires. The best bit? Honda's advice to its customers: park your car outside, so if it does catch fire, your house won't burn down. Good tip, Honda! Here at Transport Evolved, we've got to admit to having a soft spot for Swedish automaker Volvo, if only because their engineers are wonderfully open and honest at press launches about their cars, unlike quite a lot of other automakers. So we have to admit to cheering a little this week when Volvo announced its plans to offer the XC90 SUV as a plug-in hybrid model from late 2014. Built around the same through-the-road hybrid configuration as the Volvo V60 plug-in hybrid I spent a week with earlier this year, the XC90 will combine seating for 7, towing capabilities, an all-electric range of about 30 miles around town, and some serious muscle for long-distance trips. It might not be the best when it comes to range, but for anyone living within 15 miles of their office, this car could be the perfect balance of go-anywhere SUV-ness and zero-emissions daily commuting. Plus, it's a Volvo, which means oodles of safety features and a luxury interior, which brings me on to price. It is way too early for Volvo to comment on how much this monster plug-in will cost, but given its V60 plug-in hybrid is almost as expensive as the base spec Tesla Model S, we're not sure we really want to know. Can't wait to drive it though. The much anticipated BMW i3 had its official Euro NCAP crash test results released this week and only got 4 out of 5 stars. This comes 2 weeks after BMW executives boasted at a press event that the i3 was so strong that one of its cars used during official crash testing was used in another crash test. The car lost points for marginal protection of the driver's left leg and rear impact whiplash injuries, as well as weak side impact pole protection. However, it should be noticed that the i3 tested better for child and occupant safety than the Chevy Volt and Mitsubishi i-MiEV. The BMW i3 and i3 Rex have yet to receive their official US NHTSA crash test ratings, or ratings from the IIHS, so it will be interesting to see how they fare in these 2 important tests compared to Euro NCAP. More bad news for BMW this week, however, when an i3 Rex was taken by the Telegraph from London all the way to Maidstone in Kent and back. On the return trip, the i3 Rex had run out of battery power and its range-extended engine kicked in. However, as the reporter discovered, the car slowed down to a mind-numbingly slow 45 miles per hour on a steep incline in heavy rain, which did cause some problems for local traffic. BMW says that the reporter should have engaged the range-extending engine sooner, but we here at Transport Evolved think that BMW needs to be really clear about how the i3 Rex engine works, and in California we understand that the engine will not come on until the battery pack is depleted. So if you're on the market for an i3 Rex, you should be aware that this car is not going to give you the same performance on gasoline power as it will in all-electric mode. Just an FYI. In related news, the Euro NCAP rating for the ever-cursed Mitsubishi Outlander plug-in hybrid was released this week, and it was pretty good. It received the full 5 out of 5 stars from the testing agency. Could this be the first sign of the car's luck changing? Could this be the car to send EVs mainstream? Probably not. But way to go, Mitsubishi, for this great score. Now get them to the stores so everyone can buy them, okay? If you've been following the story of the Nissan Leaf for any time, you'll know of the Arizona Leafs, the group of cars that have suffered from premature range reduction due to hot weather. It seems that Nissan's current battery chemistry doesn't like the extreme heat, and when subjected to it, it loses capacity. But Nissan is on the case and has stated that they are now working on a new battery chemistry that should be a lot better in warmer climates. The chemistry, which won't improve the Leaf's all-electric range, is designed primarily to improve the longevity of the Leaf's 24 kWh battery pack. Unlike most electric cars on the market today, which use active liquid cooling to ensure the battery pack stays at an optimum operating temperature, the Nissan Leaf's battery pack uses forced air cooling to keep itself cool. This makes it more susceptible to heat-related premature aging if subjected to prolonged spells of ambient temperatures in excess of 100 degrees Fahrenheit, around 37 degrees Celsius. The new chemistry, while similar to the existing Leaf lithium-ion battery technology, can withstand higher ambient temperatures without suffering premature battery aging, says Nissan. We don't have any details of when the new chemistry comes, but this week it's been confirmed it will be replacing existing battery technology sometime in the first quarter of next year. This week, Nissan launched Care EV Leaf, a new ownership package for new Leaf drivers in the UK, designed to make EV ownership more appealing to first-time buyers. On the face of it, they look pretty good, but delve a little deeper and there are some big caveats listed in the small print you'll need to be aware of. For example, Nissan says Leaf customers can now charge at any of 60 Leaf dealers equipped with CHAdeMO quick chargers, or any of 50 Ecotricity electric highway points throughout the country. The caveat? Most dealers don't give access to their rapid chargers outside of office hours, and the electric highway requires you to sign up for a free RFID card before you leave. Nissan also says it will give owners up to 14 days of free ICE car use per year, making it ideal for those who need to make longer distance occasional trips to see family and friends. But with a limit of 2,000 miles, that's just 143 miles per day, we're not sure how useful that will be, especially given the number of rapid chargers there are in the UK. There are some other goodies in Nissan's new Care EV Leaf plan, however, so head to www.transportevolved.com to read the rest. Market research is a must for anyone wanting to bring a new product to market, be it a laptop, computer, kitchen appliance or a car. Enter a new survey published by Navigant Research which says that more people would buy an EV if it cost under $25,000, was a small sedan instead of a hatchback, and did at least 100 miles on a charge. The survey, which Navigant Research said covered a wide representation of the US population, also highlighted that consumers aren't so keen on battery rentals as they are with just buying the car outright, and all expect to have cheap or free access to EV charging while out and about. Given the preference in the US for sedans over hatchbacks, we're not all that surprised, but we are shocked to see the fact that most consumers would prefer to buy an EV from someone like Toyota or Ford instead of Nissan, Chevy or Tesla. Since Toyota doesn't actually make any EVs, other than the limited run RAV4 EV, we've got to assume that most consumers still think of the Prius hybrid as an EV, which makes us wonder just how many of those respondents understood what EVs really are about when they completed the survey. What do you think? Question: when is a Nissan Leaf not a Nissan Leaf? Answer: when it's the Venusia Morning Wind. Thanks to Nissan's partnership with the Dongfeng Motor Group. No, I'm not being rude. The Venusia Morning Wind is essentially just a Nissan Leaf with just a new bumper and charge port and a really bizarre name. The Morning Wind, which Venusia says most English speakers will call the E30, will have the same automatic transmission as the Leaf, the same range, but lacks some of the toys that the Leaf ships with elsewhere in the world, like that lovely touchscreen interface and, we assume, car wings, which we wouldn't miss. But Morning Wind? Seriously? Although, on the day after Thanksgiving, maybe that is an appropriate name. That's it for this week. Don't forget to join us next week for another episode of T.E.N, and in the meantime visit www.transportevolve.com for all the EV news that's fit to print, subscribe to our channel and other shows on YouTube, and join us live on Sunday where we'll be discussing these stories and others on Transport Evolved. We'll also be having a little bit of a Thanksgiving-y thing. I'm Nikki Gordon-Bloomfield, and until next time, stay juiced up! I have turkey tummy.
Turkey tummy. But crop it out.
Suck the turkey tummy!